Okay, I'm going to call the committee of the whole for September 3rd, 2014. Please rise for a moment of silence, which will be followed by an invocation by our mayor. For the following individuals who were called home, we're going to have a moment of silence, and these individuals are no longer with us. Robert McKinney, former borough manager, engineer, businessman, great friend to Pottstown. Dennis Wozniak, former counselor, school board director, great friend of Pottstown. Elmer Panich, served in many capacities in borough government for over 39 years, most of those years with the Water and Sewer Authority, great friend to Pottstown. And finally, Harold Carwan Moyer, who served many years as fire chief and fire marshal, great friend to Pottstown. While my words are brief, the true tribute to these individuals, all who shared the common goal of being a great friend to Pottstown, is to honor them all in our own way in a silent prayer.
On this evening, as we approach the business of this borough, we seek the wisdom that comes from above, the wisdom of the Creator, the wisdom that is described as spiritual, not sensual or earthly. We thank you for that great wisdom to touch the minds of the decision makers who do lead the way for now and into the future of this borough. And we ask this in the name of the only true, wise, and living God, to whom we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, our subcommittee reports, infrastructure, Council Cole. The minutes were attached. Anyone have any additions?
No.
Anything else? Questions?
Yeah, can I just have Doug and Erica elaborate on something? Because I did have residents on Chestnut Street inquire about the block grant, and I know there were some changes that you had requested regarding that. And can you tell us where we are with it?
The Chestnut Street Streetscape project, good timing, because we just received the authorization to proceed for that project, and that's the 400 block of Chestnut Street, which will have sidewalk repair, actually replacement, and one of the changes was the retrofitting of our Cobra lights with LED lights and rays. So I don't know if we're going to elaborate on that at all, but that's notice to proceed for Monday, September 8th. So that work will begin. So we're looking forward to that. So it's really the change.
Okay, public safety, Vice President Gary, anything from us?
We'll be meeting on Monday at 6 o'clock.
Okay. Economic development and business liaison, anything, Erica?
I don't think.
Okay. Transportation, Councilor Cole.
Yes. Airport Community Day is Saturday, September 27th, 2014, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Erica is going to speak about the FBO and the runway. And next Transportation Committee meeting is Wednesday, September 17th at 5:30. And if you would like to...
We're going to hit that with number 11 then. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add too for the Airport Community Day that due to the runway construction project that we will not have the free airplane rides for children, but we will be providing other education opportunities. Deb Penrod, pilot and member of the Transportation Committee, has been very helpful with coming up with some other neat ways to still make the Airport Community Day engaging for the public. So we still want everybody to come out. We're having hot dogs and snacks and all sorts of things going on, but we just won't be having the rides that day. But lots of things coming up in the future with the new FBO. Thank you.
Okay, any questions? Ricketts Community Center, anything, Councilor Adderley?
No report, just doing this summer season.
Okay. Pottstown School Board, I did not see School Director Williams, he's not here, so he comes in, we'll get back to that. Okay, ad hoc, first, these are all the three, the zoning, animal, and bicentennial. We'll start with zoning. Anything, Councilor Miller as the chair?
Zoning, we briefly discussed criteria of a zoning variance, and we all agreed the importance to educate the public on zoning laws, and the definitions are important and research is crucial. Each member of the committee identified an area that was of specific need to address, and we'll be reviewing all the zoning laws and addressing most needed areas first, and each member is going to discuss any proposed changes with their respective groups before it comes to council for discussion.
Any questions? Anyone has any ideas or suggestions to please get to the committee? Animal, that would also be you, Councilor Miller.
We met once, and we're going to meet again this Thursday. I just want to say that I have a very bright and dedicated group with a willingness to meet every 2 weeks. And we have identified some needed and desired changes, and currently we're obtaining some legal and financial information.
Okay, and the Bicentennial Committee, Councilor Culp is the chairman. Anything?
We've had 2 meetings so far. We have a tentative date that we would like to have a community day. That would be in September. We're trying to get in contact with the different organizations in the area to see what they want to contribute to this. We have our committee. We hopefully maybe get a few more people involved in it, and we have a motto, which we're going to use: proud of our past and confident of our future. And that's what I have to say for that. Our next meeting is next week.
Okay. Yeah, we're finding out.
September 9th. 4 o'clock.
Right, we're finding out there's a couple things that, one of them being the time capsule to be open. We're trying to get in hold of somebody from the Kiwanis because evidently it's their time capsule to open it. But one of the things that we are finding out that we probably should have started this 3 years ago. But now, not that we're not going to have a great celebration. We did have a celebration of our in 250th, was it? 2001. So that's actually when the town was formed. This is the bicentennial of our incorporation. Not that is less. That's why it's 200 years. We're celebrating our 200 before or after our 250th. So I guess if we could celebrate our 30th before our 70th, I guess that would be the thing to do. But with that being said, there's many things going on, and we're going to be working with the different events that are occurring in our town. Try and piggyback some way on some of these events to promote our 200th and bicentennial. So more to come from that. So we make sure that, but as the chairman said, we are going to have an event sometime in September, a 2-day event probably. Okay, finance.
Okay. I won't be here Monday night. Okay, we met this afternoon, and there were primarily discussions, not too many firm commitments. One of the things we reviewed, we have now a 2014 proposed budget calendar set that'll be presented to council. We talked about the VIST payment, and I think that's what, item 11 tonight? 10, general obligation note. Since we haven't drawn down on the amount of money we could use for the borough garage, we're going to ask for an extension of that, and the details of that will follow. And lastly, we did talk about the proceeds from the sale of our artwork, and after some discussion, it's the decision and hope from the Finance Committee that Borough Council would approve donating the entire proceeds to the Historical Society. That's all.
With that, originally there was supposed to be a split of the painting and so forth, 50, and the legwork was all done by the Historical Society. So it's the thinking of the Finance Committee that since we do not donate any monies to the Historical Society, and they are the keepers of our history, that would be a good idea, since they're desperately in need of the monies and so forth, to donate the 200 or 2,500, our share, to them and so forth. And that would be a contribution. So that'll be listed for Monday evening. And solicitor, anything you want to add to that?
No, that'd be appropriate for a motion if that's council's desire.
Okay. Any questions on that? Okay, at this time, moving forward, we have the Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board presentation. Mr. Bill Fitzgerald. Understand you had a meeting right previous to this one?
We did, yeah. We just had a great meeting with a great group. By a few minutes, while John, our Director of Communications, puts in a short little video that we're going to start with. But yes, I was just with Eileen and Nate and just talking about the Colebrookdale Railroad and how great that's going to be, and so a lot of exciting things in the future here.
Did Nathaniel exhaust you?
No, he didn't.
He's
No,
a ball of energy.
Yeah, and we were just talking about the fact that our team at the Valley Forge Convention and Visitors Bureau really needs to get up there to see the whole lay of the land there, the logistics. Because we're just beginning to learn all about it, and I think that will expedite the process.
It's a phenomenal project.
Yeah, we're excited. Something like that, you hear me speak a little bit here, is really can launch things like you've never seen. Something like that can really inspire folks and get people excited about, just the uniqueness of all that. I think will bring an excitement within the locals that will just permeate out. So we're going to help in any way we can with that. So. All right. Well, thank you for having us, ladies and gentlemen, council, commissioner, mayor. Thank you for having us here. Before we get started, as you mentioned, I'm Bill Fitzgerald. I'm the president. And over the last year, the new Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board. I say new. We are 50 years old. But in the last year, we reinvented ourselves a little bit. We're going to share tonight with you a little bit about how we did that. But before we get started, what I'd like to do is share with you a short little video that we launched this summer. It's part of our campaign that you're going to hear just a bit about tonight. So, John, if you're able to click on that. So it's a lot better when the speakers are on. Well, thank you. That's our short video, and the music behind it is somewhat inspirational. And apologize that we didn't have that set up for you. It does make a difference, but hopefully you recognized a few of those communities and towns that we had in that video. And it's part of this campaign that we're going to share with you tonight a little bit about our backyard inspiration, our idea of kind of rebranding Montgomery County. You know, this great county that we live in so often does not have the identity that we want to see it have. And when you think of Montgomery County, you think of some great things, but you may not think of something distinct. And so it's part of our role and part of our plan to reintroduce this new identity that we think can capture imaginations, drives curiosity, and really inspire the locals. Before I get too far into that, a little bit about us, because as I've gone around the county, so often people aren't really sure who we are, what our role is, and what we do. But we are the tourism agency for this county, and our mission is a commitment to strengthen the economic prosperity within all of Montgomery County by raising its visibility as a tourism destination for consumer and the convention markets. Our role is to inspire visitors to discover, explore our natural, cultural, and historic assets. Ultimately, we drive room nights. We are funded from a 2% hotel tax, so the money that we spend comes from the hotel tax. So ultimately, our team is out there trying to bring visitors to stay in the great hotels that we have in our county and here in Pottstown. And also, we're a membership-based organization, so we want to see and what we can do to drive their revenues up as well. Our organization has gone through a transformation this past year. Our new initiatives represent a shift from our traditional focus. Many people are familiar, of course, with Montgomery County's most visited attractions, the well-known Valley Forge National Historical Park, which welcomes nearly 2 million visitors a year, and of course the King of Prussia Mall that sees close to 20 million visitors a year. But we know that there's more to that story. We know there's more to Montgomery County, and we plan to tell it. Fall is a great time to speak about it. The economic lift that tourism provides around this time of year is a great time to share what all is happening in our county and in towns like Pottstown. The fall festivals and harvest celebrations are going on. It's a popular time right now for art shows, concerts, theaters, and start up the summer break. The weather is probably at its most inviting. Our parks are about to change into their fall colors. The local hotels, B&Bs, and restaurants are beginning their fall specials and really begin to get ready for usually their most busiest time. So this is a great time to talk to you about tourism and its impact on the economy. Year-round, and some are surprised by this number, the tourism industry in Montgomery County supports over 20,000 jobs. The other counties, Chester, Bucks, Berks, not even close to that. Philadelphia, of course, way higher. But Montgomery County, at over 20,000, far exceeds our surrounding counties. We also grew at the greatest clip. We grew 4.2% in employment last year. Again, greater than any other county in our region, one of the highest in the regions. Our visitor spend here is $1.6 billion. So visitors come in and they spend $1.6 billion in local economic impact. That was 3% over the prior year. And Montgomery County residents, all of us, we save an average of $400 per year in our local taxes as a result of that spend. One of our goals here is to share local pride, to inspire it, to help it catch on among the people who live, work, and play here. So on a grassroots effort, we're celebrating an identifiable new brand, Make It Monco, something that the general area has needed for quite some time. And this was a direct result of a strategic planning process that we just went through, just concluded, and a lot of brand therapy sessions we had with many key local stakeholders. We believe that we have something here special to offer to visitors. And you in Pottstown have a hand and a role in this as we move forward. Pottstown is increasingly becoming a more recognizable destination and an up-and-comer and a place to watch. Pottstown has been on our radar to promote history buffs for quite a while. Given the prominence, of course, of founder John Potts and the Potts Grove Manor, we certainly spent a lot of time promoting that. We're also beginning to talk about Pottstown as a place to dine, discover, and play. And however we can help you in continuing your advances in those areas, we plan to do it. We're here to lend a hand. So meeting with the group tonight, talking about the railroad, that's another inspiration we think we can bring, and hopefully our marketing and sales and communications material can help expand that and communicate that. The creation of the Monco brand begins at the neighborhood level, just like it did here. We talked tonight also about, before we start telling the world, let's tell the locals. Let's get the locals inspired about this great new initiative and tourism venue that's about to happen here. And let's be sure that we're all supportive of it, that we buy into it, and that we partake in it. The goal is to ignite our backyard. So you see, we believe a positive vibe in an area generates a buzz. Residents' positive vibe rubs off on the visitors who cannot help but be swept up in the events and attractions that they experience. So again, If the experience here is a positive one, guests are going to go back and they're going to tell others. Then they share their positive stories by word of mouth. Let's face it, social media right now, it doesn't take long to get the message out. Good and bad, by the way. So we're cognizant of the importance of social media. Then businesses are lured by the prospect of healthy markets and exciting towns because they look at it as talent pools and potential employees. The area's entire economy lifts, leading to infrastructure improvements that fuel the cycle again and again. So it's easy to see how we believe tourism plays a major role in local economies' growth. Gathered under the theme of Make It Monco, we celebrate the touch points that make us a standout destination. Our art, our music, our culinary, our retail, history, our natural beauty, and our hospitality. The borough of Pottstown is going to be part of this Make It Monco campaign. You may have seen our kiosk that has been around. I'm going to explain here in just a minute. We were here just a few weeks ago with Governor Tom Corbett as he toured this section of the Schuylkill River, and he celebrated as the River of the Year in 2014 as he kayaked from Berks County right here into Pottstown. That visit also included an appearance of our traveling kiosk, as I mentioned, which is a mobile visitor site distributing tourism information and branded swag, all in an effort to engage and inspire the locals. You certainly have a lot going on here to begin to spark tourism. Of course, the River of Revolution Interpretive Center is a great resource for preserving and protecting this historic waterway, as Governor Corbett mentioned that during his visit. Trilogy Park hosted the Quaker State Nationals in August, bringing 5,000 BMX riders to Pottstown. More than 1,000 room nights were booked. Our staff helped bring that to the community. The Pottstown Rumble each June is a 4-day grass volleyball tournament with 150 nets and nearly 3,200 players. These are all economic favorable impact to our economy here in Pottstown. You have an emerging cultural scene. The Steel River Playhouse will kick off its new season in about 2 weeks. The historic Sunnybrook Ballroom has a very active calendar of concerts and dances today. I was driving to work and I heard the Sunnybrook Ballroom mentioned in a soundbite, so some exciting things. And of course, the Colebrookdale Railroad will soon be bringing tourists to Pottstown on a train ride through the Secret Valley. And then, of course, the fact that Montgomery County Community College has invested here on the western side of the county is making higher education more convenient for this side of the county. It's also providing tourism opportunities with its art galleries. Your free bike share program is becoming a model for other communities. Other communities want to do what he's accomplished, and that's a pat on the back. Promoting green living, healthy lifestyles, and tourism along the Schuylkill River Trail. So we were thrilled to introduce Governor Corbett to the fine beverages brewed at Manatani Steelworks and serve him lunch prepared by the Sly Fox. That was a great experience. Erica, I know you were there with us that day and a couple others. It really was a nice experience to go in there. The owners were terrific. The staff was terrific. I think Governor Corbett, and he brought with him the state tourism team came in as well. So we had a great audience to share all and speak all about what's going on here. What a great day we had with the governor. A second phase of our rebranding is an invitation for visitors to come to Montgomery County because here we let freedom reign. This is kind of the other component where we're going with our rebranding. The point is that there are so many opportunities for memorable moments here in Montgomery County that you got the freedom to have a good time regardless of how you define it. It's the place to let freedom reign. We've launched a new website. Hopefully you get a chance to pull that up. If you haven't seen it already, please do. It's valleyforge.org, and you'll see that theme at play. Montgomery County is a great place to live and work. It's also a great place to visit. The more we dig, the more we find the little gems as we go along. The best part is being able to highlight these hidden treasures for people who come here. We believe in this messaging so strong that it's the core of our new advertising campaign. We will spend about $1 million over the next year advertising all that I just spoke about, on billboards, radio spots. Maybe you saw our television commercial that we played this year on Channel 6 this past summer. Print ads, all have been very successful. The more varied an experience we can create, the more ways we can help people let their freedom reign, the wider a target market we can then focus on. Because once they fall in love with Montgomery County and places like Pottstown, the greater the likelihood that they will come back again and again. And we believe strongly all this work will enhance and enrich the lives of all the residents of Pottstown and Montgomery County alike. Thank you for having me tonight. It's been a real pleasure. We hope that you're beginning to get inspired with all that's happening here. We see it on our end, And, we talk about Pottstown when we're in our strategic meetings and business plan. And there's a lot of counties in our there's a lot of towns in our county. And we want to be sure that we're doing our part as the tourism and marketing arm of the county to do what we can to help all of the folks here in Pottstown. So that was just a start tonight of the meeting. These township meetings that I've been going to is designed just for this, to meet with the township officials and the council and commissioners and so forth. And this is a real important part of our phase of what we're about to launch over these coming years. It's a 3-year strategic plan that we are focused on right now. So once again, thank you for having us, and we appreciate it. I don't know whether I take questions or whether.
Yeah,
okay.
questions from council for Mr. Fitzgerald?
Great.
You mentioned you want to get the word out to the locals, and I was wondering if you could include in your budget our own PCTV. He's now into 70,000 households, and a lot of people leave that station running 24 hours a day if there's nothing else going on.
Do they really? Okay.
Yes.
I mean, we will, John is our director of communications right there, and we have a core group in communications that certainly we should be able to work with them and see what we can do to help. Ultimately, if we're able to expand the awareness and expand this campaign, and maybe it's through things like that we can. So
it's a media source the locals believe in.
Yeah, and it's about, I've seen it's about inspiring. If we can get the locals inspired about Pottstown and all these other towns, that's, we can't start out there. We're going to start here, and that's what we believe, and that's what we're going to try to help them.
Okay.
I think I watched your video, and I noticed you had a lot of kind of outside of Pottstown. I know you showed a couple things, but we have the Steel River Playhouse, we have our mini golf, we have the carousel, which is in progress, we have our park, and I think it would be nice if some of that could be maybe included.
Featured in there.
Featured in also. And we have a splash park, there's so much.
Yeah. Pottsgrove Manor. Yeah, there are many, many things. And then with the railroad, I don't know what that experience will be yet as far as the visual, but I'm anxious to see how that could probably be projected into the new, because we do plan to update our videos as we go, because they do lose their shelf. So we'll certainly make note of that.
Yeah, your videos will be an evolving tool
Yeah.
that you'll have and so forth. And,
As will our website.
Those of us who've been on the Secret Valley train ride, it's phenomenal. So it's if you haven't done it yet, you will be in for a treat.
Yeah, and we haven't done it at the Bureau, but we will.
And what's great about it, it encompasses regional. I mean, 2 counties, Berks and Montgomery, and just like we have a regional planning commission that we just were introduced to our new Parks and Rec coordinator, Justin Keller, who encompasses the 8 municipalities and townships that are in the regional planning for this area. So that's another person that certainly will be.
Well, you make a good point on that, because Crystal, who was my counterpoint for Berks, Go Reading, their CVB, I sent her an email prior to this saying, what do you guys have going on? Is there anything that we can partner with to help them? So the more people we can bring into the mix, I think the better we'll be.
Yeah, and our regional planning encompasses also Chester County. So now you're including 3 areas, 3 counties.
And they were here with us today with the governor. Yeah, and I apologize. I understand that wasn't communicated out as well as maybe it could have been or should have been. Not sure why. We kind of just relied on the state office to coordinate things, but I guess
we had some of our counselors were there and so forth, and some members from staff.
That was a great day. Yeah.
Mary, you had a question?
I just wanted to make a statement. As Councilor Culp mentioned with the Bicentennial Committee about proud of the past and confident of the future, that in my travels I found out that while John Potts was the founder of Pottstown, his cousin Isaac Potts was the founder of Valley Forge. And such a segue could be used to create a really powerful bridge for landowners of today. Like, who are the key landowners? They were the founders, but who's actually possessing the land now? And, configure, engineer something similar to the Philadelphia Society that's held in New York, which meshes together both political parties in a nonpartisan forum, but do it in some kind of way where you can capsule all three of these counties and note those landowners as part of the present and future.
Interesting thought.
So I just wanted to share that with
No,
you.
I appreciate that, yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, and when you mentioned the 200 bicentennial, my mind started thinking, how could we help? How could we be part of that, help promote it? So,
Right.
We'll think about, what was the date?
Sometime in September. We haven't
Okay.
settled on the weekend yet, but it's
Okay.
going to be in September. It's going to be a 2-day affair. But there's going to be activities throughout the entire year.
Right.
We'll
that we're
send you a
gonna be
list.
doing.
Yeah, we have the resources to launch it out there, so, yeah.
But, people work, for putting food on the table, but they also work so they can play. And,
Sure.
we can grab some of that tourism money. That's a great thing for all the
No question.
communities and so forth. But, of course, we're looking out for Pottstown.
I get that, I understand that, I would too if I were you.
And we have a lot of great things going on in our town. Anything else? I thank you very
Thank you.
much.
We have a few gift bags of some, what we call swag in our world, so please help yourself at the end of the night.
Okay, thank you. Speaking of tourism, we now have the Steel River Playhouse presentation. Mr. Holloway. Those of you who don't know, Kurt is also our zoning hearing board solicitor, so he shares a lot of hats in this town.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. Well, you've done my introduction for me. Most importantly, I'm here tonight on behalf of Steel River Playhouse. I happen to be one of the board members of Steel River, so we wanted to come out tonight to tell you what's going on at Steel River. We're getting ready to kick off our 2014-2015 season, and that'll kick off on September 26th. And this year, for the first time, we're going to do it in a really neat way. We're having a preview party. The preview party is going to be on September 20th. That's a Saturday night at the theater. Admission is free, and it is open to the general public. So we're out tonight to make the announcement to council and ask council to help us get the word out. I'm going to, as I deliver packets of these invitations and also the season roster for each of you, Lena Devlin is here with me, who is our production manager at Steel River, and also with me tonight is Jim Kane. I think Lena will give you a little bit more detail about the preview party and maybe a little bit about the coming season. And Jim, who's our borough resident, will have a couple of words at the end. So, Lena, I'll turn it over to you while I hand these out.
Sounds great. Thanks, Kurt. Hi, just one correction. I'm actually the managing director at Steel River Playhouse now. I started as a production manager about 8 years ago, before we were actually in the building on High Street. So I've been involved with Village Productions, Tri-County Performing Arts Center, and now Steel River Playhouse for a long time. Really excited about this preview party. It's something we've been talking about for a few years, and this was the year to do it. The idea here is that we're going to have, our season has 7 shows in it, as it typically does. Something for everyone. It's a really family-friendly season. We're doing Sound of Music at the holidays. We're really excited about. We're doing 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee in June, which is a really fun show as well. And the preview party, the idea is we're going to have a little snippet from every show in some way or other, so you can get an idea of what the season's going to be like. There'll be directors from all of the shows there. You'll get an opportunity to meet our artistic director, Jean Taruso, who happens to be directing Sound of Music. The Van Trapp children have all been cast, and they'll be there singing for you. So really the idea is just to bring the public in, open the doors, and let everyone come and see what we're about. It's really that simple.
Thank you very much. My wife and I specifically moved to Pottstown 4 years ago on purpose, and we've been very pleased with the decision. We have a Victorian up on Hanover, one of the beautiful Pottstown homes, and we got involved in Steel River a couple of years ago. And I'm very pleased with the support that the borough has given Steel River, that you have all given Steel River, and I hope to see that continue. And there's a lot of great things going on here. So we've been here 4 years. We plan on sticking around, and we plan on helping out Steel River, and we hope you will continue your support. Thank you.
Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. Are there any questions about the preview party, the upcoming season, Steel River in general? You know how to find us.
Yeah, having gone to many, many plays, I don't think I've missed too many of them so forth. It's really a neat venue that we have there and so forth. And a lot of volunteers. My wife volunteers in the box on Wednesdays and so forth. But it's another neat, I don't want to say hidden treasure because then people think it doesn't exist, but it's a great treasure that's out there. So.
Thank you. Yeah. Please come on Saturday the 20th. You don't have to stay for the whole time. It's really an open house style. Come in, enjoy a few minutes if you have it.
Okay.
Thanks again for the
Thank you.
opportunity to come out and tell you what's going on.
Thank you.
Good night.
Okay, next on the agenda is the Human Relations Commission. I see Della and Rita. I see Pastor Brooks. Some of the other members I'm not sure of. So Rita, if you could introduce your team.
I will. Thank you for having us, the Human Relations Commission. The Mayor Thomas and the Borough Council. For anyone who doesn't know me, I am Rita Pais, chairperson of the Pottstown Human Relations Commission. I have been in this commission for 18 years, and I have been in a chairperson for the past 12 years. We have 5 commissioners and 1 staff person. The commissioners volunteer who have families and full-time job, and many instances traveling in and out of the country. We manage 5 projects annually, and would like to do more for the community. However, with such a small group, our opportunities are limited. Our position is stressful because of the number of few. We need more commissioners in this commission. Currently, we are in the process of relationship building for future possibility. The commission is important because human rights is not an auction. We help you protect your right. I'm going to introduce Mr. Brooke, leader of the Church Victory. He's going to say something.
Thank you very much. I'm supposed to tell you about the history. I'm still learning the history. But we're going to just make it a quick overview. Our current commission was reestablished by David Kaplan, Esquire, in 1991 from a 1968 ordinance number 1172. The commission was first designed to investigate problems of anti-Semitism and later included racism. Racism still is alive and well. Don't look at me like you're old, because it's still alive and well. Racism, which was a growing problem within the community and is still a growing problem in our country. I don't want to frighten people, but racism and bigotry is alive and well, and bigotry doesn't know race. You can be there's as many black bigots as it is white bigots, as it is brown bigots. A bigot is a bigot is a bigot. Another concern of this commission was reports of bias from families who moved into the area from Philadelphia. The tools of conflict resolution that we used were mediation, confidentiality, and referral to the Regional Human Relations Commission. Our team consists of 5 members who also evaluate the state of human relations within the community of Pottstown to develop timely projects, programs, and partnerships to ensure that human rights are not overlooked. We ensure that your rights will be protected. Next, you will hear from Nancy Altman.
Hello, I'm Nancy Altman, and I was asked to speak to you about the art and essay contest that we've been doing for the past 5 years now. Basically, students are asked to submit essays, poems, and artwork pertaining to a particular theme that's chosen by our commission. And we see the art and essay contest as a fun way for students to learn new words and expose them to ideas connected to the values of our commission, and also that could be helpful to them in the future. The themes we choose are usually components of our mission statement and are part of our core values. The past themes that we've focused on have been diversity, justice, integrity, and unity. We usually present the themes in a particular framework or a question that helps the teachers guide the students. And some of the past themes have been, why is diversity important for our community? What are the positive things that justice brings to the community? Why is it important for us as individuals and as members of the community to have integrity? How does unity strengthen the community? And this year the theme is sensitivity. And the framework, the question that we're asking is, how does sensitivity make us better people in the community? The contest is open to elementary school and middle school students. And the commissioners choose the winners. And we usually choose one for best writing, one for best artwork, and then best overall. And the winners are presented at the schools, and they receive recognition, usually a certificate or a plaque. Then sometimes a selection of submissions have been displayed here in Borough Hall. And I think the first couple of years, the recognition was also given here at Borough Hall. In the past, we've always had a good number of submissions from various classes. This year, it was suggested to us that we start earlier and contact the supervisor of curriculum and instruction so that it could be integrated in with the school curriculum. And the main point of this art and essay contest is that it should not only be educational, but it should be fun and creative so that it becomes a memorable experience for students. And the next speaker is Alda.
Hi, everybody. My name's Al Dunn. My name is Al Dunn, and I've been a commissioner for, this is my second year. And I just want to let you guys know that I've been here for 2 years, and we have established several partnerships, one with Tri-County Network, one with the YWCA. We're really working on getting one with the Pottstown Police Department. We'd like to, excuse me, have a partnership with you guys. If you guys have a problem, you have an issue, you can give us a phone call. I mean, we can go out and do some work for you that you guys can't do, because we're here in the streets already. We're a pretty diverse commission, as you can see. Also, the NAACP, we're partnering with them. Then we have the CCLU, I'm going to try to say it, Central Cultural Latino Unidas. That's close enough. Excuse me, our mayor made it a point when she became mayor to come to our office and sit down and talk with us and discuss the issues with this community. And she's encouraging us to move forward, and I think that was a real big plus. So we're trying to work harder now to get more things accomplished with this community. So please, if you have a problem, please contact us. We have officiated, I'm going to say officiated, I know that's a funny word, but I'm going to say officiated. We've done landlord-tenant disputes. We've done a sexual harassment issue here at a fast food restaurant. I'm not going to mention that because that's confidential. We've been active and participated in several criminal record expungement projects. We've been involved in that. And we anticipate doing a bullying seminar, which the mayor is really big on, and we really want to do a good job for her. So we're trying to work on that, but we want to get the right players. We want to make a big impact when we do that. I've done that. I went out and I've done some bullying seminars. I've done a little bit of work, not a lot. So, in a few words, our commission allows people who are not comfortable to be heard. A lot of times people come to us because they don't know how to approach someone. Like the police department, they might be afraid of cops, which I don't know why people are afraid of cops. But they might be afraid of me, but when they come to us, we can approach that person, we can talk to that person, and we can try to get the two sides to meet or get both sides of the story and then tell you what they said, and we can work it that way. We promote fair treatment and the proper way of doing things in a legal way. We don't take sides, we're neutral. If we're neutral, tell us. If we're not neutral, let us know. We encourage you to call us to discuss any options that you have. In ending, let me say, human relations is not just an option. It's helping you defend your rights. Thank you. Kendra Harrison.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the mayor and the borough for allowing this time. Mr. Brooks gave us a brief history of the Human Relations Commission. In 2002, the ordinance was clarified to promote mutual understanding in the community with other groups, to make studies in human relations, to cooperate with other groups to assist resolving problems in the community, to conduct educational programs, as well as to act as a referral group for complaints. We also make reports to the borough in order to improve community relations. Now, along with the history and the ordinance that was changed and modified, Al and Nancy gave us a brief description of what we do. And some of those activities are grassroots activity, which involve the elementary schools, the high schools, and some of them are dealing with just the problematic day-to-day issues that plague any community. What I want to emphasize is that the gentleman who spoke earlier had mentioned that Pottstown, this community, being a viable community, a diamond in the rough, and he's exactly right. The community that we have and that we wish to preserve is a community that is a future community that could be a model for this area. Now, one of the things that we truly believe, is that human relations develops a culture, and that culture allows these entities to come into our community and make them viable. So thank you for your time.
Now you know all the members of the Human Relations Commission. Thank you very much. Any questions?
I'm glad to see that you're taking a more proactive role as far as trying to head off some of the issues that may occur later on in life with some of the individuals. And hitting the elementary school and the middle schools is a perfect place to do that. I know it's a little late, but if possible, the essay, if it could have a little turn or swing with the bicentennial for next year, whether it be some history, whatever, so whatever you can do with that, that would be a good thing. So.
Yeah, we had to introduce a couple of the components that we already working for this year as a youth panel, working with the school and the police department, Spanish records, National Night Out, making more available relationship with the community, and bullying, educate people and parents about bullying in the school and the street. That's why we have a big project to working on it. Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, just that this year, well, I'd like to, did you bring some for everybody in the hall? Just please get one of these. There's new brochures that are available. And just get these out throughout the community so people are aware of the phone number and where to call. And I understand that there has been a submission for a budget, which is also something very positive, and I will be promoting for that budget. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's already been discussed in our finance preliminarily. Travis.
I just want to thank you for your service. We all recognize you're certainly not doing it for the money. It's because you believe in the community and the issue. And to me, one of the real blessings that we have in the borough is our diversity. And the way, Pastor, I think you hit it right on the head. Bigotry doesn't know a color or a race. And one of to me, the best ways to get beyond that is to get to know individuals. It's a lot easier to like an individual than a group. And when we get people together and break down the color barrier, you start realizing,
Bob's a good guy. It doesn't matter to me what color skin he is. We both like the Eagles. We both do this. We both do that. And so we need, people out in the community just getting groups together and start to appreciate folks for the content of their character, not the color of their skin.
And
so
also
thank you.
diversity, helping to know each other and learn from each other. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we're up to number 7, DUI grant. I guess this is you, Chief?
Yes.
As always, we renew the DUI grant every year. You have in front of you the total amount of what the grant is. I don't recall it offhand.
$49,614.
$49,614. Again, that's a 100% grant, and that money goes to pay the wages for the DUI program.
No match, correct?
No match.
Any questions? Okay, that'll be listed for Monday evening.
Thank you.
Monday's soon enough for that grant? I know some of these, sometimes it's like, needs to be in by Friday.
We actually started early this year.
Okay.
So
I would have voted on it tonight if needed be.
October 1st is the deadline.
Okay. Okay, number 8, 2015 minimum municipal obligation for Pottstown Police Pension Plan.
Janice.
Yes, I will be getting draft resolutions, and I just received the dollar amounts from Tom Redmond, so I'll get them to Chuck for both 8 and 9 before the weekend, so they'll be ready for Monday night.
Just so council's aware, the state law requires that the minimum municipal obligation be presented to Borough Council in September of the year prior. So we're looking at the MMO, both for the uniform and non-uniform pensions for 2015. Again, it gets presented to you. You'll have it in advance for purposes of budgeting. It's typically out there so you know what you have to meet. Many times, the amount that's required is offset by a state aid contribution, so it doesn't necessarily mean that the borough is going to fund that amount, but it is required that you receive it. So there's no real mystery here. It's just that in advance, you're getting these numbers based on the actuarial calculations. So that's why it's listed, and it'll be listed every September until the law changes.
Okay, that'll take care of 8 and 9. Any questions on that? Thank you for that explanation. Number 10, general obligation note. Mr. Garner.
Yes, if council recalls, we took a general obligation note for a borrowing in 2012. The total potential borrowing was $4,360,000. A significant amount of the borrowing was designated towards the construction of the Public Works facility, which is still ongoing and has not yet undertaken any construction effort. Under the note as it stood when you approved the note back in 2012, 2 years into the note, we were supposed to have basically drawn down the money, and we haven't done that yet. At that time, it was supposed to reamortize, and then you would have your repayment schedule. The only modification you're making to the note is you're not changing interest rates, you're not changing amount of borrowings, you're not changing maturity dates. You're only saying that instead of the 2-year window to reamortize, we're giving ourselves 3 years, because in the 3 years, we'll have drawn down the money for purposes of the Public Works facility construction. So because council approved the note back in 2012, if we're going to modify that reamortization date, backing it up 12 months only, you need to approve the modification to the note. Otherwise, we would be reamortizing a smaller amount, and we haven't really finished or started the project yet. So that's the purpose of the modification, and that's the need for the action Monday. Any question?
Does this drive the groundbreaking?
I'm hoping the groundbreaking happens quickly.
Let's hope the groundbreaking occurs before the ground is frozen.
Right.
Correct.
Ready to fall again?
Okay, any questions on that? Okay, the airport FBO interim lease. Erica?
As of Monday, the borough has a new FBO. As I presented last month, Fair Share actually changed, got a new name. They are Fly Elite LLC. They created their LLC. There's a lot of tasks that they're trying to accomplish right now, as well as on the borough side. So as September 1st, they've obtained the required insurances to be the FBO. And in addition, we've been working out strategically in conjunction with their airport runway project, how best to proceed for them and for us. So with that, we have been working on the concept of an interim short-term agreement so that the FBO can begin to essentially set up the new business, the terminal office, at the same time as the runway will begin to be reconstructed and all that work will continue. So we are working on a 90-day arrangement to occur at the same time as the construction. At this point, and there's a lot of dates to consider, September 22nd is the start date, official ground, all the bricks and mortar, everything for the construction start with ready materials. So with that, the FBO will be working on many different things, and they're providing a proposal, and I should have that this evening, for some capital improvements that they would like to do with the office. So in conjunction for that, before we negotiate a long-term lease agreement, that would include a monthly rent. For the FBO's obligations, they're required to pay for insurance, utilities, which is the water, sewer, electric. And at that time, when the construction is going on, they'll not be able to have flight school yet or any true operations. They will be operating the fuel facility and just taking care of general communications, notice to airmen, etc. So with that, we're trying to work out an arrangement where the borough would not charge rent during that 90-day period, in turn for the FBO paying for those items. And those items right now, as an estimate, are about $10,000. So that's really, it's well above the average rent for the previous FBO. And of course, we need to negotiate those terms for the long-term lease. I will have that language this week and provide that to you for review. But essentially, it is going to work out that this project and the FBO project will work together. So things are interesting, but they're advancing. So that's the best thing, and happy to take questions on the FBO or the construction project.
With the construction project, how do we notify the surrounding world that our airport is going to be closed? I mean, you can't put up a detour sign or anything at the runway.
We're required by the FAA to put a notice to airmen about everything in dealing with the airport, but specifically for the closures, those notifications have been made. Every single airport tenant, and with the help of our transportation committee and just advocates for the airport community, the word is out. We've sent 2 notices officially to all the tenants, just initially first to let them know about the pending schedule. Now that we have a full schedule and what's going on, we've been working with the community on that. So the word is out. Whatever we can do to help provide status reports and that sort of thing. Any construction project, we're hoping for the best. They want to get in and have good weather and get out, but it's all dependent on what you find and how things go. So we're going to do the best we can to push them along and motivate them. We've been using letters and the website and social media, but we can continue to do that, I think, for the residents as well, because we've been focusing on the pilots and of course the businesses there. So they've been working, changing their schedule to adapt to these changes, which we're very fortunate for that. So.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That'll be listed for Monday. Bid awards, borough vehicles. You have the tabs, I guess, for all the bidders for the different vehicles.
All 14 borough vehicles.
Any questions? Doug, anything at all you want to? That'll be listed for Monday evening. Paving, street overlay.
You have, should have the bid tabs in front of you. There are actually two bidders, and the recommendation is to go with Joseph Suker and Sons. Ask that that be listed for Monday night. I believe attached to the tab you should have
The areas that are
going to be paved, yes.
Is that all the areas that were in all the projects, or is this, the tab include just this bid?
That's just this.
Yeah.
The last map was spring included all the water sewer projects, but that's just out to bid right now, so depending on how the winter is, that paving probably won't happen until summer.
Now, this includes the new money that we're receiving through the taxes?
This is just this year's funds.
Okay, so
It'll be next year's paving
Next
project.
year will be a bigger year.
So next year we'll be at, what's it, almost 500,000 more we're going to be receiving to do paving, so.
Plus the water and sewer work.
That'll be nice. I mean, we limp along doing, I mean, there's, not that I want my street done, but I've lived there over 30 years and it's never been done, you know, so it's still holding up, and, but there's some streets that are just in such bad shape. A lot in each of our wards, we have areas that we can pick out that we get complaints from, so. Any questions? Okay, that'll be listed for Monday evening. Cadita extension. I guess, Chuck, this is for you?
Yes, I think council's aware that the Pottstown Downtown Improvement District Authority is a municipal authority as defined under the Authorities Act. And as such, Borough Council created the authority back in 1987 through ordinance. And historically, a municipality has the ability to set a life on an authority that's created. And over time, the Borough Council, when the authority was initially created, granted the authority life in 4-year increments. So every 4 years, if the Borough Council wouldn't act, technically the authority would sunset or cease as of a certain date. In this case, it would be December 31st of this year. The present ordinance would expire, and therefore Cadita would no longer be in existence. We put it on the agenda because we are in September, and obviously if you want the authority Petita to continue, you'll need to amend the ordinance to extend its life. And again, we've been doing it for 4 years at a time, but there's no real magic to that number. It's just kind of been what's been done in the past. So we just wanted to bring it to your attention to get you ready that if you do want to continue Cadita, we're going to have to do something before December 31st.
Sheila's here. If anyone has any questions for her as far as the operation of Cadita, what's been going on, and the future. Any questions? Anything you want to say, Sheila?
Just that I hope that we have proven ourselves in the last couple of years to show that we are worthy to have here in the downtown. We know we're still working on a lot of things, and much like the whole borough, we are definitely moving forward and have enough success stories to hopefully have your support for this to continue.
This will be for 4 years.
Well, council decide, it can be, at your pleasure. But traditionally, it's been a 4-year extension. The last time we did it was 2010, before that 2006, before that 2002. So we've been doing it in 4-year terms.
I just thought it had to.
No, it doesn't have to be. You can make it 10 years, you can make it 2 years, you can make it 50 years.
Any comments?
I was just going back to the tourism. They said their money comes from the hotel tax, so where is the funding for the Cadita? Is it?
Cadita is an assessment on all of the properties that are in the Cadita district. So it's not a tax, but it is an assessment based upon the real estate tax, and each property that's in the Cadita district will pay whatever the value of the assessment is. Each pay the same percentage, and I believe the funds it raises is approximately $50,000, somewhere around there, Sheila, if I recall correctly.
30.
30, okay, and knew it was somewhere around there,
But we're working on that.
okay, well, unfortunately, there's limitations on the ability to raise the assessment. It has to be based upon what was approved back in the 80s, and so, again, there's been adjustments, but frankly, there's not been any ability to raise that assessment, so there is limited funds generated.
And that's everybody in the district that has to participate? It's not by choice?
No, if you're in the district, there may be some exemptions under the law if you're not assessed, but again, it's been a while since I looked, but the authority has the ability to assess the properties.
The properties that are listed for sale, are they still?
Yes, yes, they're all.
With that, also, every now and then, the government, state government, I guess, has some grant monies that becomes available, and I guess over the years, facade money's been available, and a couple, we even had Main Street manager monies and so forth that help to pay a full-time position. I mean, certainly Sheila works full-time, but doesn't get paid the salary of a full-time person, just simply because the assessments are not there, for that position. Steve helps out a lot, with his position in the downtown and so forth. And I mean, I think it's definitely a viable and, a needed function and so forth, and it has improved over the years. So it will be listed. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was reading, so I'm not sure if you mentioned, but when it was created based upon the affirmative vote of people in the district at the time.
You are correct.
It's not something that council imposed upon them. A requirement was that the merchants in the district voted on it.
Right. For improvement district authorities, council has the ability to create the ordinance. However, the law is clear that it has to be submitted to a vote to the owners at the time. And there was a percentage that had to vote for it. I can't recall if it's 80% or 75%. There's a percentage. So it either had to be based upon that percentage of assessed value or that percentage of total property owners. And when the vote was cast prior to the implementation of the authority, it did pass. It was very close, but it did exceed the threshold. And because of that reason, they're kind of limited based upon the geographic size, as well as how the assessment or the percentage of assessment is out there. So you can't just change that. So everything is pretty much locked in unless there's a re-vote. So it's not like you can just say, we want to up the assessment 20%. It's not going to work that way. And you can't say we're going to make the boundaries larger unless you take another vote.
Right.
So in theory, if that happened, you risk potentially not having an authority.
Sure.
So you're locked in the ground rules from the late 80s.
But also, since the late 80s, since the creation of the authority and the downtown district, every merchant that's moved in or established themselves in that area since that time have done so knowing they were coming into the district.
Improvement district authority, yes.
Some of the funds too, Sheila, like in the wintertime, take care of cleaning the parking areas and so forth. I mean, along High Street and
cleaning, the snow removal.
Those all come from the assessments. We've done a big push with marketing in the last couple months. You'll start to see stuff going up for the holidays already. All of that has come from the assessments. The events that we hold, like the holiday events and stuff, are typically sponsorship grants, fundraising that I've done, that the Padita Board and I have done. So there is kind of two parts. We have the foundation part where we gain the grant money and sponsorship and things for events, primarily been events. The assessment money in the last few years has been used primarily for marketing the business end of operations, which currently we're looking at grants for the operation ends of that to help add to those, to build up on those so that we can do better marketing, so that we can entice people better to come into the downtown. We have had some great success with more people contacting Padita and reaching out to the merchants. One example is your Sinus is doing a health and wellness program, and they contacted me and asked if there were any businesses in town that might be interested in being at it. And three, the massage school, the kung fu school, and Janet's Nutrition Store were recommended, and all three of them are now joining your sign-ups for this health and wellness fair that they're doing. So the availability and the accessibility of having someone there at Padita to help the merchants be able to do those things has started to become more and more successful.
Keep in mind with that, if the Padita would disappear, any and all functions of Padita would be picked up by the taxpayers. As far as the street cleaning, the snow removal, the decorations that you put up, while they may be, not the best, but they're better than nothing, the snowflakes and so forth, that's all paid for by Paditas and so forth. And that's, we're fortunate that some of the, like the pots, the flower pots and so forth are picked up by transportation, but that adds to our downtown and helps alleviate some of the budget constraints for Sheila.
And people love when you're downtown and it's snowing. They're very friendly.
Any questions? Okay, that'll be listed for, well, first off, how should we list it instead of making it, or should we have it just listed as an open end, or should we just have it listed as a 4-year extension?
Yeah, I'd recommend staying with the 4 years.
All right, then we'll have that listed as a 4-year extension in the motion then.
Would that be preparation and advertising, or just preparation at this point?
I guess we're going to vote on it and carry it through. Okay. Agreed? Okay. Number 14, zoning 130 King Street, I Create Cafe. This is, I guess, your award, Cal, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And as with any of these, before you make your comments, we have 3 options. Do nothing, just pass it on to zoning, send a letter of support, send a letter of non-support. So I'll leave it up to you, Carol.
Can I just give some background, Carol, on the nature of the application, just so council's aware? This property, 130 King Street, probably about 3 years ago, came in front of Borough Council for a conditional use approval. At the time, the use proposed and the use that was granted by council was essentially for a training center, a computer training center. There was testimony as to the use. The name was I Create Cafe at the time, but it clearly wasn't asking to be a cafe or a restaurant. It was a computer training center. Over the years, apparently, it has evolved into not only a computer training center, but also a restaurant or a cafe where food is sold and beverages are sold. So the use that presently exists is not consistent with the conditional use approval of Borough Council. As a result, the zoning officer sent a letter of notice of violation saying that you couldn't run the restaurant business because that wasn't an approved use. So as a result of that letter, the owner has now applied for a variance or an appeal or from the determination of the zoning officer to allow the continuing use of the property as a restaurant or whatever it's been used for. So that's the nature of how it got here. So it really is just a question that the use is not permitted in the district, and as a result of the letter written by the zoning officer, the applicant is asking for zoning relief. So that's why it's how it got to where it is.
And I think we should pass it on to zoning.
Okay. It'll just go on through to them. HARB documents. Any questions on any of the HARB items that are coming before us? Okay, those will go through. Comments from citizens present? Okay, Councilor General. Did you say there was no one, or? No.
Well, I didn't know what was going on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can.
So add my name.
Okay. You want to come up here and do that for us? I know we know who you are. But just for Pottstown. We got a pen here.
My name's Diane Crum. I'd like to stand up for I Create. I do not pretend to understand zoning laws or anything. But in a town that we are trying to make an improvement, I Create is a diamond in the rough, as the Valley Forge gentleman used. There are people that come from miles around because he serves a vegetarian, all-natural diet. His food is wonderful. The atmosphere is wonderful. He can help you with electronics. It would be very much a shame if this town chases this person away. This is what Pottstown needs. We have enough pizza shops, hoagie shops, and Burger Kings. We need something that makes us stand out. I don't know how they really pronounced it, but Rancine, how I pronounce it, is closed. That was, another gem. I really hope that council can work with Ash to make this go. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, councilors' general discussion. Councilor Kirkland? Councilor Gary?
I have two things. One, it's past the date, just recognizing our working men and women who we celebrated on Labor Day, but then also just call people's attention to we have another holiday coming up in the very near future that, frankly, unfortunately, sometimes goes forgotten, and we don't even remember that it actually is a holiday. And it's one of those, when I was growing up, I used to always scratch my head when I'd hear, my mom and people of her generation talk about how they could vividly recall where they were when President Kennedy was assassinated. And I really didn't fully grasp that until September 11th, 2001. And, I still I can picture it like it was yesterday, recall where I was, what I was doing, and where I was going. I was in the Attorney General's office. I was driving up to a county in northern Pennsylvania for a hearing, and I had the radio on, and I heard that an airplane had crashed into the World Trade Center. There was banter on the radio. Nobody knew what was going on, and then not too long after that, the report came that a plane crashed into the second World Trade Center. And, I called my wife and I said, get ready, we're going to war. I knew pretty much immediately, as I'm sure anybody in law enforcement or the military understood, that it wasn't an accident. And so 12 years ago tomorrow, President Bush issued the first proclamation for the observance of Patriot Day. And if you would bear with me, I'd like to read it. It's not that long. And this was issued September 4th, 2002. On this first observance of Patriot Day, we remember and honor those who perished in the terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001. We will not forget the events of that terrible morning, nor will we forget how Americans responded in New York City, at the Pentagon, and in the skies over Pennsylvania, with heroism and selflessness, with compassion and courage, and with prayer and hope. We will always remember our collective obligation to ensure that justice is done, that freedom prevails, and that the principles upon which our nation was founded endure. Inspired by the heroic sacrifices of our firefighters, rescue and law enforcement personnel, military service members, and other citizens, our nation found unity, focus, and strength. We found healing in the national outpouring of compassion for those lost, as tens of millions of Americans participated in moments of silence, candlelight vigils, and religious services. From the tragedy of September 11th emerged a stronger nation, renewed by a spirit of national pride and a true love of country. We are a people dedicated to the triumph of freedom and democracy over evil and tyranny. The heroic stories of the first responders who gave their all to save others strengthened our resolve, and our armed forces have pursued the war against terrorism in Afghanistan and elsewhere with valor and skill. Together with our coalition partners, they have achieved success. Americans also have fought back against terror by choosing to overcome evil with good. By loving their neighbors as they would like to be loved, countless citizens have answered the call to help others.
They have contributed to relief efforts, improved homeland security in their communities, and volunteered their time to aid those in need. This spirit of service continues to grow as thousands have joined the newly established USA Freedom Corps, committing themselves to changing America one heart at a time through the momentum of millions of acts of decency and kindness. Those whom we lost September 11th will forever hold a cherished place in our hearts and in the history of our nation. As we mark this first anniversary of that tragic day, we remember their sacrifice and we commit ourselves to honoring their memory by pursuing peace and justice in the world and security at home. By a joint resolution approved December 18, 2001, the Congress has authorized and requested the President to designate September 11th of each year as Patriot Day. And so as we approach September 11th, I would urge everyone, particularly in light of what we read, what's going on in the world today, take a moment, remember what we suffered on September 11th, and then also, focus upon really, as President Bush put it in the proclamation, the acts of kindness and unity that brought us together. And I just pray that we would continue in that vein. Thank you.
Thank you. I have nothing. Councilor Roscoe?
I'd just like to thank those who came out for the joint board meeting. It was a little muggy, so I kept it short and sweet. And also like to thank Councilor Miller for bringing me my marriage license. It's hard to get married, which I forgot, and she was looking after my dog, so she had the only key. And I assure everybody that the street sweeper does work. I've had a few complaints about that. Doug, how many hundreds of tons of gravel has it taken up?
Around 200.
Okay, yeah. Other than that, that's it.
Councilor Cope?
We have a committee working on the bicentennial. We're going to have to pull a few rabbits out of hats to get everything together as quickly as we can. But I think it'll turn out pretty well in the long run, moving forward.
I have a couple. Saturday, September 20th is not only the season preview party for the Steel River Playhouse, it is also our annual pet fair. It'll be held at Manatoni Park, 9 to 3 p.m. We already have 94 vendors. A dozen vendors have inquired this week alone, so we're going to be over 100. We have all kinds of things going on. There's a food court, there's demonstrations and workshops. 4 major magazines in Southeast Philadelphia are covering the event. We have the vendors are registered from 2 different states, so I encourage everybody to come out. Of course, I will definitely be there. And enjoy the day, and then go to Steel River Playhouse in the evening. Tuesday, September 30th, Wards 1 and 3, and possibly an additional ward, will be having our next joint ward meeting at Red Cloud Kung Fu at 307 East High Street between 5 and 6 p.m. October 11th is the town cleanup. The town-wide cleanup is the next town-wide cleanup, but we're going to be dividing it down into wards, so I am now going to encourage all the other counselors to come out on Saturday, October 11th, between 9 and 12, encourage residents from your ward, and then everybody is going to meet downtown for some food and fun following the cleanup at Smith Family Plaza. And I would also like to reach out to the Pottstown Landlord Group. If you'd like to identify yourself, I'd be happy to meet with you and discuss any questions or concerns that you may have. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Mayor.
Yes, I have a few things. First, I would like to give a congratulations to a borough resident and a Pottstown graduate, a young woman who has gone from childhood local notoriety now to a nationally acclaimed gospel artist. And her name is Candace Benson. And maybe some of you are not aware, maybe some are, but she recently went through 7 rounds of competition on a program known as Sunday's Best, which airs weekly on BET, which is Black Entertainment Television. And she was the first runner-up in this national contest. So since her genre is gospel music, and she is a Pottstown graduate and a Pottstown Borough resident. I realize that this is kind of a quandary of sorts in how we shall recognize and celebrate Candace Benson. So I have an arm of my office that's the mayor's office on faith-based initiatives, and the pastor who is in charge of that particular arm of my office is here tonight, Pastor Reggie Brooks. And I'm encouraging ministries, churches, and citizens, whether they are Pottstown residents concerned or school district concerned, who are interested in celebrating Candace, to please get in contact with Pastor Reggie Brooks as a representative of my office through the faith-based initiative. So it's not saying one faith, it's saying all faiths or no faith. If you'd like to be a part of celebrating this young woman's success and in 7 weeks bringing Pottstown to national recognition through this particular venue. Of course, there's many people in Pottstown bringing light to Pottstown in national venues on many different fronts. But this one has been quite a test for her over the past 7 weeks. And many in the faith community have been a part of nurturing her success. And we would just not like to miss this opportunity to celebrate her at this stage of her development with music. So I thank you, Pastor Brooks, and all other concerned citizens. We will be continuing with a proclamation as well, as I concur with her, the best fit for the celebrations. And not that this would be the only one. I'm sure that many individuals and groups would like to participate, but I would like to take that to contribute for the borough and the school district. And I have spoken to Mr. Sparagana, and we're still in a concurrence of following through. You're going to have flash on the screen at the end of this broadcast a advertisement to continue the discussions the school district's holding regarding their application to secure a substantial grant from the Kellogg Foundation for pre-K through 3rd grade early education. And those meetings are going to be Monday, September 15th from 1 to 3 at First Baptist Church. On that same day, Monday, September 15th, 5:30 to 7:30 at First Baptist Church. And on Thursday, September 8th at the Barth Elementary School. I do have some flyers which are in Spanish as well as English. If you'd like to take one, please pass the word. On September 13th in Manatoni Park from 10 to 2, there will be an event that will be showcasing, heralding, gathering, networking, just a day of fun, food, and recreation. The title of the event is Fathers Matter, and this is the brainchild of Fred Blankenberg and staff he's a Montgomery County Family Engagement Specialist, and he wants to increase the engagement of fathers in all parts and aspects of their children's lives. That event is very important to our community. Very important it is that men in our community that might find themselves in an unstable position could find encouragement in an event such as this to network with other fathers who are indeed stable. So I'm definitely encouraging that event for those who are so inclined. I'd like to say on behalf of performing weddings, as a result of going to the mayor's conference, I picked up some tips on reporting of weddings, and also found out that, well, not found out, but this was basically to solidify that performing the wedding ceremony is a luxury or a privilege that the mayor performs. So there's no avenue of litigation if a mayor decides not to marry someone for any reason. It's completely the prerogative of any mayor to determine who they will marry. So I've been doing interviews and making sure of IDs and addresses, and so far I've collected $200 towards next year's fireworks. So anyone who's going to get married through the mayor's office, it's going to go towards next year's fireworks. And I can go anywhere in the state, although don't call me to Pittsburgh and give me a $20 donation. I am kind and sweet, but just don't do that. But, you know, I'm willing to travel for the fireworks. And by law, we can't take a donation over $150. So I'm just putting that out there. And the street sweeping was wonderful. So that's my personal opinion. And I know there are some contrary opinions, but I got some very nice letters from citizens that were just applauding the streets being swept and the borough being clean again. And, you know, it's just good when people have a good perception of things that are going on. That's it.
Okay, yeah, the street sweeping I felt went really well. There was some areas that there were some issues, but we haven't done it in how many years, Doug? A complete borough-wide street sweeping.
5 or 6 at least since we got rid of the sweeper.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, there was a lot of grit and stuff that was built up, and that, all that grit stayed out of the stream system, so that, you know, as part of our MS4 plan that we're doing and so forth, so that was a good thing. And the other thing, tomorrow is Vice President Gary's birthday, so I think he's going to be, what, 30 again?
Yes, 30, 30 plus.
So we wish you a happy birthday. And anything else? Okay.
Executive session.
One executive session.